I am I have a bad habit of getting into arguments and conflict very, very easily. Anybody else can get into a fight easy? Anybody else want to admit it? Awesome. We have a few people who, telling the truth. So you and I, we can get into conflict. I have two primary characteristics. I have a big mouth and I have a lot of opinions. And if you put those two things together, how many of y'all know you can get yourself into some trouble, right? Can we be honest? Everybody say, yeah, like elbow your neighbor and say that's you. So anyway, we have some issues if you're careful. I have a big mouth and I have an opinion, and I can get into conflict fairly easily. One of the things that I'm not proud of that I have to work on, honestly, that I'm trying to work on in my life is not making a small thing a big thing. Anybody else kind of like that? Like I can make a small thing a big thing, and what happens is sometimes I can take a small thing and then add another small thing to it, and then add another small thing to it, and before you know it, the day is lost. The day is just completely gone. And so one of the things that happened to me recently was I did one of those genetic testing kits. You anybody ever done one of those genetic testing kits? And I did one of those. You kind of spit in a tube, and then you shake it up, and you send it off to some lab, and now the government knows everything about you. And and so they sent it off, and I finally got my results back after a few weeks, and I woke up. I actually got them on an email. I woke up and I looked at my phone, and I got a message letting me know I had all my results. And there was a lot of results in there that were kind of shocking, but one of the ones that really was kind of odd to me is I pulled it up, and I went to the part that said genetic testing for health, genetic testing for health. And I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I used to weigh 325 pounds. I've had some weight issues in my life, especially when I came out of college, and lost a ton of weight and held it off for about 10 years. Thank you, Jesus. And so, I'm just happy to be healthy, and I'm like on a journey, and everything's all good, and I'm happy. And one of the interesting things that I learned about my genetic testing, I kid you not, this is literally what it said, okay? If I'm lying, I'm dying. I promise you this is what it said. I went to the genetic thing, and there was a marker that said a specific category. It said genetic weight. Like genetic weight. And I'm like, what's that mean? So I click on it. So you got to be careful when you click on things, right? So I clicked on it. I'm like, what does that mean? So it drops down the carrot, and it said, oh, Mr. Grijalva, you are, I'm not kidding you, this is literally what it said. Okay, now remember my background, okay? So he said literally what it said. It says, you are genetically predisposed to weighing more than the average person, okay? That's literally what it said to me. All I read, okay, all I heard when I felt like it was science telling me that I am genetically predispositioned to be fat my whole life. That's literally what I heard. As I read it, like you are genetic, like you have no say in the matter. You might as well just give up and start eating Cheetos because there's nothing you can do. And I was like, I could not believe it. It made me mad. I was like irritated. I'm trying to find the 1-800 number. I'm going to tell the scientists they're wrong. Like, I'm like, you don't understand. Like, look, I've been losing my weight. I've been watching stuff, and I'm eating vegan and kale. Ain't nobody like kale. And so I'm trying to be healthy, and you're telling me that no matter what I do, I'm going to be heavy. So I was mad. My wife comes in as I'm walking through. Not kidding. I'm telling you, it's a true story. I'm walking through. I'm like this. I'm like partly crying, partly mad. You ever had those moments? Stupid thing. And I'm like mad. I'm walking. My wife walks in and goes, "Hey, babe, the breakfast is done. You want to come and have it?" I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "What? I didn't mean it." I'm like, you don't know? They just told me that science just told me I'm fat. Science told me that. I feel like I'm in high school again. Like science told me that. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you care? I don't want to eat. I'm never going to eat again. I'm just fasting right now." She goes, "I don't want to eat breakfast." She's like, "I don't know what's going on." So I got mad at her, right? So then I got mad at her. Then my kids come in. Then I get mad at my kids. And I'm mad at my kids now. I'm mad at we're arguing. I'm arguing with my children. I'm arguing with my wife. I'm talking to our staff. I'm arguing with them. I'm mad at everybody. I'm mad at the world. I'm mad at Best Buy. I'm mad at Starbucks. Nobody get anything right. Before you know it, I'm at the end of the day, and my day was ruined simply because I started out and I made something that was small. Come on. I made it into something big. Anybody else like me? Anybody else just lose the whole day after you're hearing that science tells you you're fat? So I just realized that I have a problem with conflict. I don't know how, I'm going to say it like this, I don't know how to deal with conflict or deal with conflict resolution well. And here's why. We all are kind of a little like that. If we're honest, we have two main reasons why we don't deal with conflict well, why we don't have conflict resolution in our life. Number one, you were not taught this. Have you noticed that your parents probably didn't sit you down and say, little Billy, little Sally, here's how we deal it. When you get mad, when you have conflict with someone else, this is how you systematically work it out. Did anybody have that conversation? Probably nobody. And if you did, you grew up in the less than 0.5% of people probably who were ever taught how to systematically work through your moments of conflict, which means you and I were left to our emotions. So however you felt, it came out, and you just let people know. Anybody else like that in here? Anybody just like, I'm mad and I'm going to let you know? Or you didn't have your emotions. You were left to your influences, which leads us to our second problem, was that you might not have been taught about conflict resolution, or if you were taught the wrong thing, and you might have been mistaught, which like you only saw it. Maybe you saw it from your parents. Like your mom always avoided when she got mad, there was conflict, she went to her room, she slammed the door, and nobody saw her for the night. Right? Or your dad, maybe you heard your dad, you saw your dad when there was conflict, there was screaming, there was yelling, there was anger, maybe there was violence, and now you have been taught the wrong thing when it comes to conflict. And now we have a whole generation and society of people who have to now figure out how to deal with conflict, and the only way that they know is from learning from mama and from daddy, and they didn't actually do it the right way.